Good evening and welcome to Palmetto Sports Daily. Rick Henry in Columbia, joined today by Kevin Bilodeau in Charleston, Carmine Jamay in Greenville. Guys, I hope you're having a good week.
Thank you, Rick. Same
As
to
they
you.
nod their heads. Okay, well, that's good to know. Let's talk a little football. The Gamecocks playing their SEC opener Saturday night, 7:45, hosting the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now, Vandy quarterback Diego Pavia down at SEC Media Days in Atlanta, he basically said he's really looking forward to this rematch with South Carolina. The Gamecocks held him pretty much in check when they played last year in Nashville. Yeah, he's got this date circled. Now, Pavia, he's off to a red-hot start. He holds the highest offensive rating of any quarterback with a 93.1 grade through 2 weeks, according to Pro Football Focus. And he's accounted for 573 yards of offense through the first two games, scoring 32 of 40 through the air for 468 yards and 105 yards rushing on 19 carries. Yes, he is a handful. Now, here's USC head coach Shane Beamer on Mr. Pavia.
He's a stud. You watch his tape. I mean, I've got so much respect for him. I got a chance to visit with him a little bit in Atlanta at SEC Media Day because we were there at the same time and enjoyed visiting with him and enjoy watching him play. He's such a competitor. He loves the moment. He loves competing. I mean, he's got to play against Virginia Tech where he's sitting in the pocket on third down and delivering a throw down the field. He's got to play against Virginia Tech where he's got one-on-one coverage on the outside and he throws it up and he hits the receiver in stride on a deep ball for a touchdown. He's fun to watch and I've got a ton of respect for him. It's going to take all 11 on defense to control him.
Sounds like Shane is he's a fan of Diego Pavia, and he says, hey, he's fun to watch. He's electrifying. Kevin, where do you see Pavia giving the Gamecocks the most trouble, or will they be able to neutralize him?
I don't know if they can neutralize him completely the way they pretty much shut him down last year. I think the big key is going to be discipline on that South Carolina defense, especially when you have a quarterback that can move around like Pavia can. You got to make sure that your defensive backs are staying with their receivers, whether they're in zone, staying in their spots, or if they're in man, staying with their guys, to make sure that when he's running around and buying himself time, guys aren't getting open and giving him the opportunity to make the big plays that he could do with his legs and then use that to make it with his arms as well. So discipline is the big key, Carmine, for this South Carolina defense.
Yeah, definitely well said, Kevin. And just an incredible story what coach, I know Shane Beamer obviously going against Diego Pavia this week, but we were talking about the Any Given Saturday documentary on Netflix, and Diego Pavia might have been the most impressive character coming out of that entire series. I mean, the heart and the will to win and the belief and the underdog scrappy mentality that he brings from New Mexico State, where he knocked off Auburn and then did it again at Vanderbilt and obviously beat #1 Alabama team and led to the goalpost being taken 2 miles down the street in Nashville and dumped into the river. What an incredible career for this guy, and this year he's even taken it to another level, completing 75% of his passes so far this year. And you were mentioning, both of you, the incredible offense that Vanderbilt has. Rick, I think that South Carolina's 16-game winning streak against Vanderbilt, which is Vandy's longest SEC losing streak currently, this might be a little bit in jeopardy here this weekend.
It's going to be a tough game. I really believe that. It's going to be very competitive. Clark Lee, give him a lot of credit for turning around the attitude of the Vanderbilt program, the attitude of the fans. Now they're going into games expecting to win, not hoping by some miracle they'll be able to knock off a program like Alabama. They've got that belief. So they're going to come in here and they're going to be looking to take the Gamecocks out. I always say I haven't seen a national ranking help a team win a game. I've seen a ranking help a team lose. And now with South Carolina being ranked in the top 10 in the AP poll, the 11th in the coaches poll, they've got that target on their back, so it's going to be tough. Carmine, what's happening with Clemson?
Yeah, well, Clemson, as you know, Rick, also has a target on their back, and that target was almost hit with a bullseye by Troy, because in that first half, a lot of people covering the Clemson Tigers were shaking in their boots a little bit when the Tigers went down 16-0, and then coming back to win, scoring 27 unanswered points, as we've talked about, but now a much different test going at Georgia Tech. Brent Key has his team keyed up, and Haynes King, the quarterback, looks to be tracking toward playing. Coming back, he missed the game against Gardner-Webb, but looks like he'll be a go to start against Clemson this Saturday. And this is also a young man in Haynes King that I think is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the country. I mean, you saw him go for almost 20 carries, almost 160 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns at the Fighting Deion Sanderses in Buffalo, not Buffalo, obviously, in Boulder, Colorado, but the Buffaloes. And so Haynes King is going to be a problem. Dabo Swinney talked about trying to defend him. But this team has an eerie similarity to the 2016 Clemson Tigers team that also faced Troy, had an even closer matchup with Troy, only beat them by 6 points, and then that team went on to win the national championship that year. Here's Coach Dabo Swinney talking about the similarities between that team in 2016 that had a close call against Troy and this year's team's close call against Troy, and the potential future for this year's Clemson Tigers.
I feel like I'm living 2016 all over again, honestly. In fact, I went back and looked at my notes from 2016 after the Troy game, just curious. And it was like I could have just erased the name. I could have just walked into the team meeting with the same comments, because, you know, we just weren't different reasons, but same comments. You know, the only difference is we made one more play than Auburn in the opener. Came down to a Hail Mary. We played terrible. I think we dropped 3 touchdowns in that game. I think we had 11 drops in our first 2 games, those 2 years. I think we had 11 drops. Again, 3 touchdowns in the Auburn game. That was the game, and then Wayne Gallman, you know, he ran out of bounds, and I mean, it's just like we just were. I don't know. Deshaun was not playing well. What's wrong with Deshaun? Everybody's beating Deshaun up. He's terrible. He thinks he's the Heisman. He's this and that. He was 16. It was his last year. All the hype. And, you know, honestly, similar to this team, that was the first time that they got all the rat poison. You know, and that's kind of this group. This group hadn't really. This group ain't had the rat poison. They've just had the you suck poison. And this is the first time this group's really had to manage that. And I don't think some of them have managed it well, obviously, you know, just being real. And I would say the same thing about that group.
So some interesting comparisons between the 2016 team, close call against Troy, winning the national championship, 2025 team, close call against Troy, not as close as that team. And where do they go from here? So, Kevin, I'll pose the question to you. Do you think we'll see a similar trajectory? I'm not saying predicting a national championship, but a similar trajectory with the Tigers kind of getting the fire lit underneath them from a close call against a lesser opponent this season, similar to 2016?
Well, they have the chance, because that 2016 team, after they had that close call against Troy, they actually played SC State the next week, won that game by 50-plus points. And then after that, they went down to Georgia Tech to open ACC play, won that game by, I think, about 3 touchdowns. So they're on the trajectory. The difference is, you know, that 2016 team, they won that game at Auburn and then won the game against Troy. This team lost that game against LSU in the opener. It seems like that should have been the wake-up call they could have gotten right early on in the season. I don't know why they would need another one against that inferior Troy team, but that's what they got. So now it's a question of, can they kind of bounce back? And, you know, I'm thinking maybe it's good for them to go on the road this week, you know, even though it's only down in Georgia Tech, which isn't too far from them. But maybe it's just good to get out of Death Valley for a couple of days and get away from the Clemson fans and just go on the road and kind of show everyone what this team can do, you know, away from home and how good they really are, Rick.
Kevin, you know, yesterday on the show, Ella asked me what did I remember from that 2016 game against Troy, and I told her, well, hey, I really don't remember that game. I do remember the similarities between the 2016 team and the 2025 team when it comes to Troy. And then I was looking back through our archives, and I went, oh, look at there. there I am doing a stand-up after the Troy game. Then I go, okay, it's coming back to me now. Deshaun Watson didn't play well early in that one, but they rebounded and they were able to beat Troy by 6 points. The one game I do remember from that 2016 season is when they lost to Pittsburgh. And I think that's the game that really caught their attention and turned them around and set them up to win the national championship. So can the 2025 team have the same type of success? I don't think so, but I think they can go on and make the playoffs. And if they, if they're not awake now after struggling against Troy, then it just might not happen this season. All right, we're going to take a little time out, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We continue with college football and move down here to the Low Country where the Citadel coming off a big conference win in their SoCon opener last Saturday on the road when they took out Stanford. Really one of the most complete performances since Maurice Drayton became the head coach of the Bulldogs as they went onto the road, beat the SoCon's other Bulldogs by the score of 40-13. This week they go back on the road. They're back out of conference when they take on Gardner-Webb. Now Maurice Drayton spoke on Monday at his weekly press conference and said he was really happy with how this team performed on the road last weekend, but he says he doesn't want them to rest on their laurels. There's more they need to do if they're going to reach the accomplishments that they want to set out for this season. And he compared it to a dog he had when he was a young boy.
I had a dog. My dad got us this dog. We were moving from West Virginia to Ohio. And to make the family feel better, he bought a family dog. And it was a good old-fashioned mutt. I think he was mixed with Rottweiler and German Shepherd. And that dog, his name was Hannibal Du Bois Drayton. He lived to be 17 and a half years old. But when he would have a bone, right, after he stripped all the meat off the bone, yeah, he would eat all the cartilage. He would break that bone down to the marrow. And that's what I told the team what we have to do. Winning is good, but we're striving for perfection. We're striving for that day when we take all the meat off the bone. We can't leave anything out there because with our goals and where we want to go, if you do that, it will eventually catch up with you.
All right, first thing, do you guys give middle names to your dog? Carmine, does Vivica the cat have a middle name?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Vivica A. Fox, yes. But as far as the dog, yes, we have Marley Jane Owens. That's my girlfriend input. So I guess so. I mean, I respect the middle name. I also how about that dog living to 17 and a half years old? Unbelievable. What is that, like 100 in dog years? And love when coaches give those examples where they really drive home the point and getting all the way down to the bone marrow, focusing on the details. But that also reminds me, do you guys, I'm sure, Kevin, you remember the Coastal Carolina football coach, I believe it was, when he was talking about, we have too many cats on this team. Meow, meow. We need some more dogs. Oh. And that clip went viral. That was another example of the dog being brought up. But I like Maurice Drayton's, made a little bit more sense to me in this animal scenario.
I've never given an animal a middle name. There's no need for it. Yeah, the last family dog that we had, he was named Alexi after Alexi Lawless, the soccer player. And so he was just Alexi Henry. No need for a middle name. Kevin?
I like it. Good call. As for Charleston Southern, the Bucks also in action this week as they return home. They open up Big South OVC play when they take on Lindenwood. Now, the Bucks have lost 12 games in a row. That includes the first 2 of this season when they lost on the road at Vanderbilt and at Coastal Carolina this past week. And although they put up a good fight against Coastal with this 13-0 loss. Head coach Gabe Gardenia talking yesterday afternoon, and he talked about how with these 2 big money games they've got out of the way, now it's really when their season starts. It's now 10 games, mostly conference play for them, and this is really the time when they get their season going.
The way we framed those first 2 games was, hey, these are kind of bonus games here, and now we've got, a 10-game season here to play. And so I think offensively they're a little angry I think the edge is going to be razor sharp. I hope it's razor sharp here today at practice. And I think defensively, you play someone like that and you play well on the road. Now we got to stay hungry.
So the pressure's certainly on for Charleston Southern as well. Like I said, 12 straight losses. It dates all the way back to week 2 of last season when they went on the road and beat Furman. So they didn't win a home game at all last season. Seems like Lindenwood is a good opportunity for them to get back in the win column, guys.
Wow, 12 straight losses. That's got to be tough for the players and the entire fan base. So, Kevin, what is the mood around that program?
Gabe Gardenia does a really good job of keeping everyone upbeat, no matter what's been going on. He had a lot of success in his first season, kind of trying to turn this program around. They obviously took a big step back last season, only being able to win 1 game and then going on a 10-game losing streak. But even after that, he talked about how as soon as that season was over, they bring in a bunch of new guys, as every team does at this point. And he talked about how they put that losing streak behind them. And really, for the majority of these guys, they've only lost 2 in a row. They've only lost these first 2 games. A lot of these guys weren't here last season to experience that 10-game losing streak. So hopefully they're able to get past this and get in the win column as they take on Lindenwood on Saturday. We've got more here on Palmetto Sports Daily coming up right after this.
Welcome back here to Palmetto Sports Daily. In the last block, we talked about dogs and cats. Now we're talking about Panthers. We're rounding out the animal kingdom, guys. The Panthers, with that really tough loss in the season opener at the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 26-10. It was really never close. The result was never really in question. The Panthers' offense looked bad as it had in the preseason, and the starters really didn't play that much in the preseason anyway, so it was just a continuation of how it had looked leading up to this point anyway. But Rick, starting with you, what should our confidence level be right now that the Panthers will be competitive, close, or even pull out a win at the Arizona Cardinals in week 2 here? They are 6.5-point underdogs right now.
Yeah, well, like I said last week, until the Panthers show me that they know how to win a game, again, coming off the preseason where the offensive starters especially didn't get that much time on the field, and I think it showed in that first game because it was just a continuation of what we've seen from the Panthers the past few years. They did appear to gain a little momentum at the end of last season, but no, I don't think there's any way they go on the road. They go to Arizona and pull out a victory. So I think it's a 0-2 start for the Panthers. Kevin?
Yeah, I don't even know where you start finding wins on this schedule. Maybe the Saints with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, maybe there's one of those 2 games you can sneak one away. But just the way, from what we saw last week, I have less than zero, negative 1,000,000 confidence in what the Panthers are doing right now. Like Rick said, I question even more the decision to not play the starting offense more in the preseason. It seems like that would have been the opportunity to get these guys in a rhythm, work the new wide receivers in, maybe keep Hunter Renfrow in there a little bit longer since you were going to bring him back after the trade of Adam Thielen. That kind of doesn't make a lot of sense in retrospect. But I don't see what the Panthers are doing. I see no reason to have any confidence in them. I see no play at any point that makes me think, okay, this could turn things around. I don't see anything in there. And I don't even like the Cardinals that much. I mean, Kyler Murray is as inconsistent, maybe as much as Bryce Young, but I think they've got more around them that I would take Arizona at home as they take on the Panthers this weekend. Now, Carolina did make one interesting signing this past week. They brought in former South Carolina Gamecock and former Berkeley Stag here in the Low Country, Israel Mukuamu, who'd been with the Dallas Cowboys the last several seasons as a defensive back. He was let go by Dallas late last month. Carolina brings him in as a practice squad player, a chance to move up to the main roster over the course of the next couple of weeks if he keeps working hard. Israel talked with our affiliate in Charlotte yesterday and talked about what it was like to come to Charlotte, near where he grew up, and play with some of his former college teammates on the Panthers.
It actually didn't hit me yet. Just being able to play for my home team, just walking around the facility, seeing guys up on the wall like Jake Delhomme, Steve Smith, Chris Gamble, like it's crazy. It's definitely a blessing in disguise, and also playing with some of my college teammates. It hasn't hit me yet because I didn't suit up yet, but I mean I can definitely feel it. It's a great feeling. It's definitely been a blessing. I mean everybody don't get this opportunity, so just being able to reunite with them again from college to now, I mean it's a blessing. When I got signed, a lot of my old college teammates, they happy about all of us being back together.
So Israel gets a chance to pair up with his former Carolina teammate J.C. Horn. Of course, they were in the backfield together in Columbia and put together one of the best defensive backfields South Carolina has ever had. We're going to wrap up this edition of Palmetto Sports Daily right after this.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. Closing out the show, we talked about football, but now let's talk about the other type of football in college soccer. The Furman men's soccer team's putting together a very interesting season so far, guys. Their record is 3-0-3, so they have 3 wins and 3 ties. All 3 of those ties are against top 10 teams. Number 9, San Diego. They also tied number 8, Duke, and they just recently tied number 5, Virginia Tech. Their next game is at number 8 Gardner-Webb on Friday, so maybe a 4th tie. We'll see what happens because the Furman Paladins are ranked top 10 in the country themselves. Very interesting season. They recently retired Clint Dempsey's jersey over at Stone Stadium for the Paladins. Very cool celebration. Of course, the USA Soccer legend, one of the best in the country's history, and it's Doug Allison's final season as head coach in his 31st year leading Furman. So, Rick, it seems like there's obviously a lot of college football excitement, but soccer seems to be making a come up in the state of South Carolina.
Well, you got a lot of soccer fans here because there's so many of the schools, there's so many youth programs. Like if you go over to the Irmo area, you see all the kids playing soccer. So it's great to see all of that success.
Wilfer Bustamante is second on the team in points. I just wanted to mention that. We're going to wrap up this edition of Palmetto Sports Daily. We will see you back here tomorrow.